Gamers, I have gathered you here today to talk about the biggest BS in all of Honkai Star Rail. And I feel like that is best described by picking out this singular character and just looking at what's this little damage type here. Oh, it's imaginary damage type. I wonder what other characters has imaginary damage type. Oh, no other characters have imaginary damage type. And that is the biggest BS ever. Because if I pull up this damage sheet, you can see some characters in this game take only two forms of damage, imaginary or fire damage to break them. And if I scroll up a little more, physical imaginary, go up some of these imaginary, wind imaginary. So a lot of these characters, another wind imaginary, electricity imaginary, a lot of these characters or enemies are only broken by imaginary or another class like lightning. But if I go into game and I'm trying to fight, let's say we're going to this,
Do you want to enter the Forgotten?
and we go to the Forgotten Hall, well, I'm going to need imaginary for this, and then there's going to be other enemies over here which also need imaginary damage or a different damage type. So I have zero options when it comes to the imaginary damage type. So let's say they were going for wind. Let's say I got to go for wind or imaginary. Let's say wind or imaginary. Let's just pretend. Well, I have two options for wind. So I have my actual built character, Bronya, and then I have this Dan Hung that is unbuilt. And I'm just shit out of luck because I didn't build Dan Hung, so I can't use him for either of these, so I can't do anything. Another thing that I'd like to add, when it comes to shield break, Bronya is trash at it. Bronya and whatever this girl's name is also trash at it because their job isn't to shield break. Their job is to support your actual DPS. So they don't have abilities that deal increased lightning damage or increased wind damage. Their abilities are specifically designed for support. So if I'm trying to, let's say, use Bronya for breaking a shield, it will take 2 shots of her primary weapon to break a normal ad's shield. And that also means that it's going to take 2 full turns for me to break a single target shield whenever they like to send out, let's say, 5 enemies at a time. That is 10 turns to break all of the ad's shield, especially when it comes to this, the memories, the Forgotten Hall, where time is of the essence and the faster you can kill it, the better. This absolutely sucks, meaning I've already invested in 8 characters right here at the top. I'm going to have to invest in another lightning character because she doesn't break lightning shields at all. And I'm going to also have to go towards a Dan Hung because she doesn't break wind shields. So I'm going to not only need 8 characters, I'm going to need another 8, 9, 10. I'm going to need 10 characters because I'm bad at math at a count. And another thing I like to add is I have almost everyone. The only character I'm missing is Sanpo, and that is the one character I would love to build, but it is what it is. But one thing I like to say is look at all the cryo units they love to get. We got 4 cryo units on my team, and guess what? There's another one. There's the, let me go show you. Yang Jing. Another cryo unit. So we got 5 cryo units in this game, and we only have 1 imaginary unit that is a 5-star that is also on the standard banner that you cannot choose which 5-star you get. You just have to get lucky or wish 300 times in order to get him. That's pretty big BS if you ask me. And another thing that I hate is, like I was saying before, I have to build another electro unit just because the electro unit that I built can't break shields. So this also exasperates the problem of leveling, because leveling, when you get to the 50 wall, you start hitting it just really hard. Just a level 50 and trying to get your character to level 60 or 70 is like weeks of farming for a single character. You have to farm weeks upon weeks just to level one character up. And you're telling me that I'm gonna, just so that my Sealy can have the best comp possible, I'm gonna have to do that with Bronya, I'm gonna have to do that with Serval, Ting Yun, and I'm gonna have to also do that with, where's her name, where's her face, Dan Hung. I'm gonna have to do that all just so that I can break the shields of these characters, because the characters that I already built that are wind cannot break shields effectively at all. So I believe that, you know, having a lighter sentence when it comes to leveling characters, since we're gonna need so many characters leveled up, would have been so much nicer. And making enemy units only have to take 2 element types is kind of a big ask whenever the game just releases, and there's so many of these just on here. I'm not even looking at some of the other enemy types that they have, like some of the bosses, where look at all the bosses that have imaginary damage. You have to deal imaginary damage, imaginary. If you have imaginary, it would be massive, because you'd be taking out like half of the enemy roster compared to some of these others. But I mean, physical imaginary, I don't have that. And I'd say 99% of you don't have that. And there's nothing that you can do to have it. But hey, heads up, at least we're getting another imaginary unit in the future. Too bad he's another 5-star. We're not even getting a 4-star imaginary unit coming up in the near future. It's going to be another 5-star unit. So we're not only just in this with only having one imaginary unit. We're going to be in this for several patches down the road. Hopefully it's just next patch, but who knows how many patches down the road we're going to get to where we're just sitting there with needing imaginary damage or electro damage and not having electro, or not having enough electro units built because you need electro for both of the memories, the Forgotten Halls, and just having to deal with not having an imaginary unit when imaginary would deal with the problem overall for everything. It's just a big sting that's going to fix itself in the future. No telling how long in the future it's going to take, but it's going to be quite a while, and I just wanted to bring that up. I mean, why did we get 2 free cryo units? Why didn't we get an why isn't Herta imaginary? That would have been absolutely perfect, because Herta's like part of the Genius Society. I mean, they could have baked it into being imaginary somehow. I mean, that would have been so much nicer. Just give us one element of every type. If you're going to make characters or make enemies only have 2 elements that they're weak against. Like, let's say I didn't have physical. I'd only have, let's say I had to deal with physical. Well, Natasha's not going to break physical shields. She's going to take forever for that. She's a healer. She is a support. There's so many characters that just aren't made for breaking shields in this game, that they're like, oh, you have a physical breaker, just use your Natasha. Well, if I do that, I'm going to be in the imaginary hall forever, just wailing on one unit, trying to break their shield with Natasha's basic attack. I feel like they do that with a lot of units, like Bronya, Natasha, Ting Yun, Cha-Ching, unless you can get her. Cha-Ching is kind of like on and off. It depends on how lucky you are. It feels terrible if you're not lucky, because then you're not breaking shields. I feel like if you get her ability up, then you should be able to, if you get the 4 pieces, then you should be able to break enemy shields with quantum damage, like fully from the sides. Because if you know, she deals quantum damage and breaks a full regular enemy shield directly if you have the 4 pieces, and then she does half to the side enemies. I feel like it's a big ask to get 4 matching tile sets, so you should be able to break the enemy shields of not only the guy in front but also the guys on the sides, or you're going to be there forever. And I feel like this is just growing pains. Hopefully in the future it'll fix it, like I was saying before, but I just wanted to bring that up. Why don't we have another imaginary unit, and why are they making another 5-star, the imaginary unit? I feel like it's just making you use all your primo gems like right now during the first patch, and then they're going to release an imaginary unit that you're going to desperately need in the next half when you're out. And it just kind of sucks. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and as always, Johnny.